Alright guys, so the first thing I'm going to start off with is, of course, a priming spray. I'm using the Urban Decay one. And then the next thing is I'm going to be trying out still this Catrice Prime and what's this primer for my pores and fine lines. I'm still trying it out because yesterday when I used it, I didn't see that my foundation was splotchy, so I'm not sure if it was just the foundation I was using or what, but I still don't know what the root cause was for my foundation to be splotchy. Alright, so for today I'm going to be using my LA Girl Pro Matte High Definition Foundation. I really like this foundation, especially I think it was only like $8. And it is pretty good. It actually, if I forget to set that foundation with powder, I feel like I'm still gonna be okay throughout the day, just because it actually controls my oils very well. So out of all the high-end foundation, I've tried the Urban Decay one, and I've also tried the Makeup Forever one, and those just slip and slide all over my face. But this one, for some reason, is actually pretty good. So I do have to mix this foundation with some some adjusting drops. These are from Ulta, because this foundation tends to be a little too yellow and light for me. So in order for me to still use it during summer, I have to adjust the color. But during wintertime, that's my perfect color. Like even then, it's still like a little bit too light for me, but the bronzer and blush tend to even it out. I do need about 3 pumps of this for my whole face though. Usually I tend to just use 2 pumps with all my other foundations. But with this one, I don't know if it's the Beauty Blender that kind of absorbs more product with this, because it's such a, it doesn't feel like a heavy foundation, but it is a little bit thick. For today's look, I'm actually going to be doing something like just a little bit naturally, well, on the natural smoky side. Seeing what I come up with. For my looks, I usually tend to just sometimes, sometimes plan it with my outfit. If not, sometimes I just wing it. And I think today I'm just gonna do it based on my shirt. Alright, so once we have it all blended out, I'm going to be using my concealers. So again, I tend to use this NYX. It's in CW05. It is a pinky undertone concealer, just because I have some darkness around my mouth that I want to brighten up and cover. Because usually with all the concealers that I've tried or that I like using, they tend to not cover up the darkness as well. Sometimes when I just use the concealer by itself and I don't use the color corrector one, it just looks like I'm highlighting the darkness under my eyes. So with this, it makes it easier to conceal. All right. So there goes that. And then sometimes I take the leftover product and I just put it over some areas that I like to use it. So also for today, I'm going to be trying out the NARS Custard Concealer. So I'm going to just be using this pointed tip. See how it works. Ooh, it might be a little bit too bright for my liking, but we'll make it work. Sometimes I don't like using these cream concealers just because it doesn't matter how high end you can get, they always tend to still crease on me. But I heard good things about this one, that supposedly it doesn't crease, that is very full coverage. Oops. I'm just gonna use this brush to just since it is on the lighter side, I might as well use it for highlighting. All right, so it blends out pretty well with my beauty blender. Like I said, it is probably too light for me, but at least it blends out pretty well. So I feel like it doesn't have as much coverage as my Tarte Shape Tape, but I feel like because it is on the lighter side, let's see how it looks on camera. So it looks okay. I might add just a little bit more on this indentation going on. Alright, I'm going to use my usual Maybelline Fit Me Loose setting powder. The good thing about this is that it is going to add an extra layer of coverage. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to be using is my Physicians bronzer in Sunkissed bronzer. Just want to add some color back. Oh, sorry, before I forget, I need to set my face. Sometimes in 10 you don't have to set your face, but I tend to just set it just because I don't want my bronzer to be very hard to blend out. And so I just use my Wet n Wild pressed powder. And then I just set it on the rest of my face. All right. So now I go in with the bronzer. And this just adds the tiny bit of color to my face. I actually like bronzing my face first and then going in with everything else. Just because I don't know how dark my looks are gonna end up being. Alright. So with that, sorry, my nose itches. I get allergies in the morning. But let me take a sip. If y'all guys haven't tried, or if y'all like drinking Red Bulls and you want to try something new this summer, this coconut berry flavored one is really good. So for the next thing is brows. I'm really wanting to microblade my brows just because it takes me forever to get them done. So I'm going to do one on camera and the other one off because it takes forever. So what I like to do first is outline my brow just so I know where I need to fill in and don't go overboard. Because I am one of those people that tends to sometimes go overboard. And so I just basically go outline the front from where it's supposed to start. I do use like the little tips and tricks that people say, or makeup artists that say to start off from the nose, because in that area is very, very sparse. So I like to grab this brown from my Tarte palette and then just re-outline, and then I go in and fill it out. So the eyeshadow palette I'm going to be using today is my Lorac, Unzipped palette. I love this palette. This is a palette that I tend to use whenever I go traveling because it has all the neutral colors that I tend to use on a daily basis anyways. And so I'm going to go with a light hand with this unconditional color. It's like a cool tone brown, but it actually comes out pretty warm on the eye. And so I'm just going to be using that as my color in my crease. Like I said, I'm kind of going to wing it, but I am wanting to do a little bit smoky. Well, not really smoky, but just darken up on the outer corner of it. And so I'm going to do the same on the other eye. And like I've stated before, I do have hooded eyes, so I do have to bring the color up more higher than usual. So if you don't have a hooded eye, do not bring it up this high. And then I also tend to flick the color up just because my eyes tend to droop just a little bit. So I do tend to want to give that illusion that they go up. Alright, so once I have that color looking like how I want it to look, I'm going to now go in with Unspoken in the palette. It's just a darker brown. I'm going to be using more of a pointed, fluffy brush. This brush, I got it on an Ipsy bag. It's from Luxie, and this brush is from Morphe. If you're looking for cheap brushes, I definitely recommend, well, if you're looking for a cheap brush set, definitely look on the Morphe website. I mean, there's a lot of YouTubers that have like coupon codes that you can get 10% off. But if you're barely starting and you just want to achieve a bare minimal look with brushes, you can definitely use e.l.f. brushes as well. I love using the flat shader brushes from e.l.f. Let's see where they're at. Like definitely the dollar ones from e.l.f., the flat shaped ones, you can definitely use those. I know also Wet n Wild came out with some, but they're $5.99. But I mean, they're really pretty for Wet n Wild brushes. Let's see where it's at. All right, so nope, not that one. So I grabbed this one up from Wet n Wild, which was $6.99 or $5.99, and it's just a good contouring brush. And then I also picked up their highlighter brush, but I can't find it, which is also has that right here. I just love that pink glowy packaging of it. But like I said, if you're just barely starting out and you don't want to spend $20 or $30 on a brush set, you can definitely pick up a dollar one from e.l.f. And they do also have good face brushes, like the flat brush that I use for my powder on my face, that's $3. I also picked up this nice fluffy face one. I mean, it's really soft too, and I like actually using this for the darker bronzer that I use on my face. I like using this one. I think this was $5. And then also they have, I used to use this brush, which was $3 for highlighting as well. But you don't have to spend or have high quality brushes just to do a good eye look. So what I'm basically doing with this Unspoken color is going in very lightly in the very outskirt of my eye, and then bringing it up, and then semi going into the crease. And then I'm also flipping it, because you can see how it's kind of wide. Then I'm flipping it on the wide side and then blending it out, so that way it can give that smoked or the darker look on my eye. I do tend to go slowly with this step just because I do have to precision the color very precisely on my eye, because I do have hooded eyes, and if I'm not careful, I can kind of go straight and it gives my eye a very odd look. So once I have the darkness that I want, I'm going to do it on the other eye as well. I'm going to go with Unreal just in the inner portion of my eye. And I tend to just use my finger because it gives out the most pigmentation that way. I mean, you can't do it with a brush and set it, but I already don't have enough clean brushes as it is. And like I said, I tend to also bring that color up just a little bit, because like I said, when I look straight at you, you can barely see the color peeping through. Using this e.l.f. brush, I think this one came in a set actually, so in an eyeshadow set. So I'm just gonna use the darker brown on the outer corner of my eye lid, just to kind of make it give that illusion that I have big eyes. Oops, kind of went a little bit inside my eye. Okay, so with the concealer, I am noticing it is creasing a little bit, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it. Alright, so once I have the darkness, I'm actually gonna go in. I'm actually gonna go in with the darker color, Still Unspoken, right there. Oh, sorry, right there. And smoke it out a little bit more. I like a really smoky underline. But sometimes I do tend to go a little bit overboard and close up my eye. Because as you can tell, I do not have very big eyes. And so anytime I try to do smoky looks, I have to still be careful with my under eye so I don't go overboard with darkness. But I mean, it's dark brown, so it won't be that bad. Alright, so once I have the smoked out look that I want, I'm gonna go and curl my eyelashes. With that, I'm done, but I do want to add actually some black eyeshadow in the outer corner. I actually do want to bring it in a little bit too. And I'm going to use an angled brush for that. No, that one's synthetic. Let's see. Oops, that's the one I used to use before. So I'm gonna use this small brush. I think this, yeah, this one from Morphe too. And I'm gonna use a black. But I'm going to use my Naked palette. I'm just gonna use the Creep, oops, that one. It has shimmer in it, so it's not gonna be as dark, but I wanna just add some darkness to it. Like I said, I don't tend to use eyeliner or do a wing liner just because it tends to close up my eye. But I do like using a black shadow as a liner. As you can see, it looks much better. I'm just going to use a little bit more to darken out just the outer corner area. Alright, like that. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other eye now. If y'all guys want to see a specific look using specific colors, like either more neutral looks or something colorful, let me know down below. Because I'm telling y'all, if y'all leave it up to me, y'all gonna be seeing a whole bunch of neutral looks. I love using browns. I'm such a sucker for brown colored palettes. I can have 5 guuuyyyssss I have 5 palettes using with just natural brown looking colors, and I'll pick another palette up. Alright, so once I am done with that, I am going to go on to my cheeks. So I'm going to be using this Milani. Well, actually, I'm going to deepen up my bronzer just a little bit more. And I'm going to use the Milani bronzer. I've had this thing for the longest. Golden is the color. But it's such a good bronzing powder. It does come out a little bit orange, but I don't mind because it is summer and you're trying to look golden. But just don't go overboard with it. Oh yeah, this is one of the brushes that came in the set too. In that Lorac set. But I don't go in with this for my nose, that's for sure. Because it does look a little bit more on the orangey side. So I'm just going to go in with this one. I'm going to use this e.l.f. palette, well, this e.l.f. Duo palette. And I'm just going to grab the tiniest bit because this one is pigmented and go on the sides of my nose. Just to give that snatched look or whatever. Alright, so the next thing now is blush. And this one is in Luminoso. And so I like applying it to the apples of my cheeks, and then I like going back with it. Alright, so for highlighter, I'm actually going to go in with, where did I leave it at? With this new CoverGirl highlighting palette. I used this the other day. I did a Facebook Live video. Let's see, I think, which one was the, oh, I think this was the one that was more blinding. Yes, it was this one. I used this palette and the other eyeshadow palettes from CoverGirl on this Facebook Live video. If y'all want to check it out on my Facebook page, I'll leave it linked below. And so I love a blinding highlight, I'm not gonna lie. The more highlights I buy, the more highlights I want to use. Highlighting is not for everyone, especially if you have texture on your skin, but I do, and I still don't mind using it. And so yeah, I think just a little bit more. All right, so with that is how it looks. And so, oops, I forgot to use more bronzer on my double chin. You know, I should just start eating healthier, but why do that when you can still be eating the same and just covering it up? And so for today's lip, I want to do, I tend to go with browns, you guys. I don't know why. I kind of want to go with this Wet n Wild Velvet Matte Lip Color. You know what? I'm also going to use a lip liner because I've been needing to use my lip liners. Been needing to use them up. I'm actually going to put this one away because this one's the same color as this one over here. And it's brand new. Alright, so that is that. So the last thing that I like to do is, since I do technically go in like a little bit darker, I just tend to look at myself in the mirror and in the camera as well, to seeing if there's anything that I need to darken up. I'll probably darken up my bronzer on my head. I'm just gonna go back in with the e.l.f. one, just so everything can look even. Alright, so that is it for today's look. Oh yeah, setting powder. Setting spray. So I'm actually gonna go in with the Milani one today. If I can, oh, here it is. So I'm just gonna go in with the Milani Make It Last setting spray. This is a top contender too compared to the NYX, but I still love my NYX more. And I mean, if you are into like having certain ingredients not used on your face, these do have alcohol in it. This one and the NYX spray one also has alcohol in it. I'm not sure if, where is it at? I'm not sure if the Urban Decay one does. It just says oil free, but which, just in case if y'all didn't know, alcohol supposedly does cause wrinkles in your face. So there it goes. Again, let me know if y'all want to see any specific looks on my next video. I'm always down to use any request, to do any request that y'all want. So thank you again for joining me. Hope you liked today's look. And if you have any questions, please leave them down below.